Good day, everyone. Today, we'll be discussing one of the key operational decisions in dialysis practice, whether to use a single-use dialyzer or a reuse dialyzer. Each option has its own advantages and disadvantages in terms of safety, cost, performance, and practicality. Let's begin with the single-use dialyzer. As the name suggests, this type of dialyzer is used only once for a single hemodialysis session and then discarded. These are the advantages. First, infection control. Because it's new every time, there's no risk of cross-contamination between patients and no exposure to residual blood or disinfectants from reprocessing. Second, consistent performance. Each treatment uses a fresh membrane, giving predictable clearance and ultrafiltration. Third, simplified workflow. There's no need for cleaning, testing, or labeling. It's straightforward and time-efficient. However, there are disadvantages. The most obvious is cost. Using a new dialyzer every session can significantly increase operating expenses. It also produces more medical waste, which adds to environmental concerns. And finally, it requires larger inventory management to maintain adequate stock. Now let's move on to the reuse dialyzer. In this approach, the same dialyzer is reprocessed and used again for the same patient multiple times, usually up to a set limit, depending on policy or membrane condition. These are the advantages. The most notable advantage is cost-effectiveness. Reuse programs can save a significant amount per treatment, making dialysis more affordable for centers and patients. It also reduces waste, since fewer dialyzers are discarded. Some patients even report feeling more comfortable using their own dialyzer, believing their body adjusts better over time. However, reuse comes with its own set of challenges. It requires strict reprocessing procedures. Cleaning, disinfection, testing, and documentation must all be carefully followed. If any step fails, there's a risk of infection or exposure to residual chemicals like peracetic acid. Over time, the dialyzer membrane may degrade, resulting in lower solute clearance and ultrafiltration. And lastly, reuse programs demand trained personnel, dedicated equipment, and regulatory compliance with standards such as AMI, CDC, and DOH guidelines. Let's now compare the single-use and reuse dialyzers side by side. Let's start with infection control. Single-use dialyzers have the lowest risk of infection because each one is new and sterile for every treatment. Reuse dialyzers, on the other hand, depend heavily on the quality of reprocessing. If cleaning or disinfection steps are missed or done improperly, there's a risk of cross-contamination, residual disinfectants, or endotoxin exposure. Next, let's look at performance consistency. A single-use dialyzer offers predictable clearance and ultrafiltration every time because the membrane is brand new. With reuse, the dialyzer membrane can gradually lose efficiency over multiple treatments, leading to slightly reduced urea or creatinine clearance over time. In terms of cost, this is where reuse has a clear advantage. Because a single dialyzer can be used multiple times, overall expenses are much lower. Single-use dialyzers, while safer, cost more per treatment, which can add up, especially in high-volume dialysis centers. For environmental impact, the situation is reversed. Single-use generates more medical waste, while reuse programs help reduce waste by extending the life of each dialyzer. Now let's consider operational complexity. Single-use systems are simple: use, discard, and replace. Reuse systems are complex. They require trained staff, reprocessing machines, chemical testing, labeling, and documentation to ensure safety and compliance with standards like AMI and DOH guidelines. In summary, both single-use and reuse dialyzers play important roles in dialysis care. The choice depends on several factors: patient safety, cost considerations, environmental impact, and the resources of the dialysis facility. Whatever approach is used, the goal remains the same: to provide safe, effective, and high-quality dialysis treatment for every patient.